Hello everyone, welcome back. So this week I really wanted to talk about sampling and surveying for artisans. And I actually made a list and I was just going to go out and do something, normal and how I usually look to see which resources are currently active and which ones where to find them, etc. But one of my most important resources just popped up today, and I'm going to show you how I go about searching for new resources that might have popped up, how to survey for them, and how to lay down harvesters and where to find them. So let's go through that. So the first thing I do is I go to a website called SWG Tracker. That is kind of the go-to site for finding the newest resources that have spawned. You can find schematics there. I highly recommend it if you are an artisan. That is definitely the place to go. But for now, we're just going to talk about resources. We won't go into schematics yet. For resources, you want to go to SWG Tracker and click that little icon in the upper left-hand corner and go to Top Spawns. Top Spawns. And then I sort by age, so you want to show the newest on top. So as you can see, there's this, you can see on the left here, Omoletar is Tolusian Fiberplast, which I need for RIS armor appearance items, and is the number one, the top item for it, the top ranked Tolusian Fiberplast for it. And strangely enough, I just made a really nice suit of it this week, which is on my vendor in Rory. If you want to take a look at it, look up Mina's Armor, MEENA. But it also is number one for other fiberplasts. So for weapons, one-handed Darksaber sword, droid interfaces for droid engineer, other weapons that use fiberplast. Basically, you're looking at this overall quality and SR, and it's number one in a lot of things, a lot of important things, and definitely need it. So I figure I could probably have 6 harvesters down for this and get over 1 million, which would last me forever, most likely. As you can see, if I click, so reconnaissance armor segment is also a big one that I use this for. So if I click that, I can see that I only use 15 units of fiberplast. So this isn't going to take a lot. If I get 1 million, I'm never going to reuse all of those. For RIS, the chest piece is the biggest there, so I'm going to click that. And as you can see, it uses 50 Tolusian Fiberplast, so also not a lot. This was the one I was using before this, which was at 901. This rating is at 911, so it's definitely an improvement. That's a pretty big improvement, actually. What else do we have to look at? So this one uses for RIS armor chest piece appearance and all other armor RIS armor appearances. It uses overall quality, SR and DR. And as you can see here, it kind of highlights the ones it actually uses. So for overall quality, it's 999, which can't get much better except for 1,000. A little lower than I'd like here for DR. Like the previous one had 969, but it makes up for it in SR at 970. So the maximum that you're going to get here is 1,000. If they were all 1,000s, you'd get 1,000 here. But that's almost impossible to find. Iniguit, is that the right name for that? That is probably the most used, at least it used to be. So if I go to Advanced Battle Core up here, these are the pieces that create this. Is that still one of the top ones here? Here it is. Actually, this came out right after the server went live. This one came out recently, but it's from Mustafar. So you had to hand sample this because you can't lay down harvesters on Mustafar. So I actually have a lot of this, which is good, but I also have a lot of this. When this one spawned, it was pretty amazing because it had 1,000 here, it had 1,000 here, it had 979, 981, 968, 966. It was used for so much. And I still have 300,000 of it or something like that. But yeah, so as you can see, that one's about 73 credits per unit. So if you were to save 1 million of these, you get 73 million if that's people are actually going to buy it. It's very, very sought after resource. But anyway, going back to this. So my goal is, since this just popped up, this is a #1 resource. I'm an armorsmith. I want this. I also have a droid engineer on one of my alts. So that would be also good for this, for droid interfaces. So I'm off to find this one. So let me click the... Okay. So I'm on my main crafter here, which is my main alt. And I'm off to Talus. So what I want to do here is I want to find... So if you're an artisan, you probably already figured out that you have some survey tools. You can create survey tools. In this case, you want to use a chemical survey tool to find this fiberplast. And since it's Tolusian fiberplast, you have to go to Talus to find it. So I always go to... when I go to Talus, I always start at Diric. Doesn't really matter, though. You can start wherever you want. And then I head north. So I guarantee, this just popped up, what, yesterday? I guarantee that there's probably already 100 harvesters sitting there. And you know, like I said, I showed you what I can create from this. So it's not like this requires 1,000 or, you know, 1,000 units to create one item. It's like 15 or 50. It's not a lot. So 1,000,000's going to last me forever. Now, if you are some people who want to sell this, and it's going to be around for a long time probably, it would be important... Let me store this again. It would be important to grab more than 1,000,000 and put some of it on your vendor and sell some of it. It might not sell right away, but as new people start joining the game, maybe in 6 months, then you might want to start putting it up on your vendors and find out from that CPU price on the SWG Tracker what you should be selling it for, or look at what other vendors are selling it for and try to compete with that. That's what I usually do. So, all right. So one of the things I was just talking about is a survey tool. So actually, just let me... If you are a beginner to Artisan, you want to go to miscellaneous, crafting, no, not crafting tools. You want to go to survey tool. And the quality of these doesn't really matter. As you can see, I have some crate. I'll show you here in a second. These are all the different types of resources that you can survey for. And in this case, we're trying to find chemical. We're trying to find fiberplasts on Talus. So that's part of chemical. So you'd want to create one of these. And I can show you here. Here's my chemical one. See, there's no... It says it uses conductivity, but it doesn't. So I'm going to find that fiberplast, Omolatar. I'm going to start surveying for it right away. Oh, and it's actually pretty good right here. But okay, out of big cities like this, you can't lay down harvesters up to about 1,000 meters. So you have to be about 1,000 meters up. So even though I found it here, it's not going to help me really. Because by the time I get out 1,000 meters from city central, it's going to be much lower than 76. I mean, normally. I'll chase it just to show you what I mean. All right, so I'm definitely going the long way here. And you can survey while you're riding on a vehicle, which is really cool. It's going back to the city center. Okay, it looks like 76. Around 76 is going to be the max here. Now, you might be able to find this at higher percentages. Chemical, and I wish I had the sheet in front of me, but chemical I think goes up to about almost 100, if not 100. You can find it in the 90s. But on the website under surveying on swgr.org, which is the SWG website that for the server that we're on right now, we'll talk about all the different maximums like ore and ore. You'll get, if you can find some ore around 60%, that's actually pretty good. But for metal, And chemical, in general, you should be able to get into the 70s, 80s, and 90s is a good number. 90s would be great. On Yavin, you'll find a lot of 90s. It does seem kind of planet dependent. Now that I'm starting to get out to around 1,000 from city center, I'm going to start searching for it again. And of course, I'm only a tailor / armor smith, so I have to stay away from all this red stuff on my screen at the same time. So talus is pretty good for that. But like if this resource was on Dathomir or Endor, it would be a lot more difficult, especially Dathomir, because there's just aggro everywhere. All right. So I'm surveying. Okay, I found a little pocket of it. Let's see what it goes up to. And ideally, you want to keep doing this until you find the percentage that you're looking for. In this case, like if I found 80%, I'd be satisfied with that. And I'd lay down some harvesters. You just keep finding it and searching for it and looking at your radar at the same time, and make sure you're not driving into the middle of some nasty aggro. It's still going. That's good. I'm definitely far enough away from Dyrek now that I could lay down some harvesters. I have large harvesters, though. So, okay, what are harvesters? That's a good question. And we'll come back to that here in a second. Let me find this. Here's 86. This is really good. And there's no harvesters here. This might not be flat enough. Yeah, see, there's some over here on this side. Someone's plopped some over here. See, I told you I'd find a whole bunch. And this just popped up. Like, people are on top of this. This is a really good percentage. What am I at? 88? Is that what it said? 90? That's amazing. All right, there might be spots over here. So harvesters are a way of gathering resources where kind of offline, where you don't have to be there to do it. They do all the work for you. So let's see. I have 6 deep crust chemical with me. A couple things to look out for. So what I did was I went to my inventory and I chose use deed. These are harvesters. So you can see the base extraction rate is 14. I think that's 14 units per minute that you'll get. There are different levels. There's small ones that go up to about 15. Or no, I'm sorry, 5. Their max is 5. And you can pretty much lay those anywhere. That's the cool thing about those. These ones, you have to have a pretty good lot to place them. And you can see, oh, this is so exciting. Found some right here. Where'd that one pop up at? It'll show up. There it is. Looks like I might have space for a couple here. It's so fun when you find new resources. At least I think it is. I geek out on this kind of stuff. Crafting in Star Wars Galaxies is amazing. Gathering the resources part, the laying down harvesters, finding it. Okay, there's 4. And if this was one of those resources that I think I'd use millions of, I would bring all 4 of my characters here to put down harvesters. And I would send the waypoint. I would email the waypoint to this to all 4 of the 3 of my other characters and say, place chemical extractors here. In order to do that, you can basically go into your waypoints that you have. I pressed K to get to there. And you can see that here's all my deep chemical harvesters that I just created, that I just laid down. And here's the survey of those. So, harvesters are created by architects to, like I said, to gather resources where you don't have to be in order to gather them. And I'll get into hand sampling here in a second. But since I really wanted to get these down and find a spot as quickly as possible, I kind of wanted to do this first. Sorry. After you lay down a harvester, you'll see if I click C and go to personal, lots remaining. So I only had 6 lots. That's why I only brought 6 harvesters. And now it's down to 0. Lots are taken up by like placing a house, placing other harvesters, placing factories. Those all take up lots. And you only have 10 lots to work with. So you have to think about how efficient you're going to be with those. So now that I'm down to 0, I don't have any more harvesters on me. I place these harvesters. Now what you want to do, you need to add maintenance, which will cost credits, and you need to add power. The best power to add is, make sure I have some on me. I'm pretty sure I do. Radioactive. So I have, with radioactive power and power in general, you want to look at potential energy. Overall quality doesn't matter when you're adding power to a harvester. Potential energy does. You want that to be as close to 1,000 as possible. These are really good. They're at 974 and 976. If they had a really high overall quality, I wouldn't be using them as well, I should say, in decay. I wouldn't be using them as for putting them on harvesters. I would be using them for other things. Like shipwright uses radioactive for actually creating components. And if it has all 3 really high 900s, you want to save it for something like that. So in general, the higher the class that you get in radioactive, the higher potential energy more than likely you're going to get. So class 7 is the highest, as I recall. Then there's class 6 and class 5, I believe. The lower number class that you get, the lower potential energy, probably. So, I'm going to take a look at, I'm going to go to status on this first. And I can see that I already have maintenance pool of 20 days and power of 12 days. That's pretty good. I could add, let's see, a little bit more power. So the power was at 12 days. I'm going to add 10,000 more. Let's see how much it goes up. Now it's up to 18 days. So I'm getting about 6 days per 10,000 here. So after I do that and make sure there's enough maintenance and enough power on it, I'm going to operate machinery, change resources, and I'm going to find that Tellusion fibroplast. I have it right on 90. That's awesome. And turn on harvester. So if any of you want to find this spot, it's at 1607, negative 370 on Talus, just north of Derrick. All right, let's go to all of my, and do this for all of my harvesters, or slash extractors. I call them harvesters. So I'm going to check status on this. My maintenance is really low and my power is pretty low. So I'm going to pay maintenance. I'm going to add 30,000 here. All of my money is on one of my alts, so don't make fun of me for not having a lot of money. It's on my alt, my other alt. Deposit power. 20,000. Operate machinery, change resource. And since I just previously chose Tellusion fibroplast, it remembered that. And just hit OK and hit turn on harvester. So that one's going now too. So, I'm gonna keep doing this. So different resources on different planets will have different spawn times. So that's like how long they're going to be around. How long will this resource be here on Talus is the question. There are, I wish I had the formulas in front of me. It's usually around 10 days for normal resources on, like this for fibroplast. But if you start talking about jump to light speed resources, like on Mustafar, you're probably going to get somewhere around 5 or 6 days. So it all depends. Some resources can last a few weeks. Sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at the same time. So you have to keep an eye out. And what I usually do is I won't keep her here today, unless I wanted a hand resource or hand sample. I want to add a little more power to that. See, I'm not keeping, since I'm talking, I'm not keeping track of like which ones I actually already checked. Okay, that one's good. I think this one's good. I think this one's good. With mineral harvesters, you can see them going up and down. This one you can hear them. It sounds like an oil well, but you can't see it going up and down. So you're not actually sure if it's turned on or not. Okay, this one is good. This one's not operating. This one's not turned on yet. How much do I expect? How many resources of this fibroplast do I expect to get out of this? I expect to get, if it's 10 days, I expect to get over 1 million of this resource. I don't tend to sell resources that much. But, you know, I have all of my other characters available right now to put down harvesters too. So I might send that to them to put down harvesters. So I'm going to do that right now, actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to email, and I'm going to show you how you can do this to your other characters once you have a waypoint. So I'm going to click new. I'm going to send this to MIDI Tolusion talus fibroplast. Because I don't. Is Tolusion IAN or ION? And then for my attachments, so they'll automatically have to click down here. There we go. Usually I click K to go there. I will send them the resource survey. Sent. Now MIDI will get that, and once MIDI gets that, I can right-click on it and say Save Waypoint, and it'll get saved in here for him, and I can go right to it, which is pretty cool. All right, so some things to think about. Whenever you set down harvesters, it's going to send you an email, and it's going to show you that you've put down harvesters. I would save those emails. I would. It's kind of like your log that you actually did that. Also, your waypoints that it creates here, do not delete those either. So just save those. Those will automatically go away whenever you destroy the harvester. Whenever you turn off the harvester, I'll get to destroy here in a second. And your resource survey will stick around, but these will go away. And then it'll start jumping up your personal lots remaining again. So, something to think about. Okay, let's pretend that I wanted to, the spawn is done. Here comes my cat behind me. The spawn is over. The chemical's done. She wants food, I guarantee it. And I can't get any more out. So I have to bring up the harvester so I can use them later on. So what you want to do is you want to go to Operate Machinery, turn it off, get everything out of the hopper. In order to do that, you retrieve resources. You click on it, hopper, click on it, retrieve resources, hit OK. Excuse me. That'll go into your inventory right here. And you can see Amalatar. And then after it's turned off, you want to go to Destroy Structure. I know you're not actually destroying it. It's kind of a misnomer. It's actually isn't a misnomer. It's not destroying it. But if you read here, it says basically, if your condition and your maintenance are within parameters and you hit yes, basically this will be redeeded to you and it'll go back into your inventory. So destroying is actually redeeding / going back into your inventory. So that's what destroy means. But I don't want to destroy this right now. I'm going to go back and turn this back on. And so I can collect more resources. Okay, now let's talk about hand sampling. Now, if I was on Mustafar, or if this was a super crazy resource that I needed millions of, I would leave my crafters / surveyors here all week, as long as I can, and survey for this resource. A couple things to think about whenever you're surveying. Now, if you are new to or surveying / sampling, if you're a new crafter, sampling resources is kind of the first thing you have to do in order to get resources to start building things, like to start building your own things. Because you don't have harvesters right away. Like if you're a new player, you don't have harvesters. You have to buy them or build them as an architect. and those can cost money, and you don't have that much money to start with. So you have to sample for resources. That's the free way of getting resources, so you can build things. So in order to sample, I've already surveyed, but I'm going to show you. So in general, whenever you survey for something, whether it's fiberplast or if you're surveying for metal, these are all the different types of metals. You want to click the resource and start surveying and finding the highest area that you can of that resource, and then start sampling. Sampling means basically you're pulling that resource out of the ground by hand. I know it sounds weird. And putting it in your inventory, kind of like what a harvester does, but you actually do it faster. The problem with sampling is you can do it AFK, away from keyboard, but you have to do it from a macro. And macros they will expire after about 45 minutes. So you can sit here at your keyboard and sample forever, as long as you're in front of your keyboard, and you won't time out after. I'm just going to hit /sample. Oh, it forgot it because I clicked the other survey tool. So let me survey for this again. You don't have to do /sample, by the way. You could just hit get sample here and say get sample. All right, now I'm starting to see how I'm getting 27 units right away. These are 14 BER. They're getting 14 units per minute. So you're going much faster. You sample about every 30 seconds or so. And yeah, you're going to get 27 units per 30 seconds, which is pretty good. When you're a Mustafar, because you can't lay down harvesters there, you have to hand sample. And that's the hard thing. So whenever you are hand sampling, you'll get there's a little mini game to sampling. Little pop-ups will show up. It says, hey, you found a nice big resource here, or a rich vein of this resource. Or it says, hey, we found a bigger concentration over here. Do you want to do that? This costs X many action. So that part of it is the mini game of sampling, and that's how you build out surveying prestige as well. So you can see here, there's the mini game is how you can get surveying prestige experience points. Also, finding new resources and reporting them. Report resource. It says this resource is already known. If you find a new resource and you report it, you also get surveying prestige points for that as well. And you can build this up where it can actually help you expanding survey, advanced sampling, which is big, and extraction rate, which is also big. So because of the mini game, you can't just leave it here. Your character will time out after your AFK is done, and you'll automatically get logged off. So because of that, you want to use a macro to automatically click the pop-ups that pop up during the mini game, so you can just go eat lunch or something for 45 minutes, and you'll continue to sample this resource during that time. Now, after about 45 minutes, your macro is going to expire, and one of those pop-ups is going to come up, and the macro won't be able to click anything automatically on that pop-up, and it's going to just sit there, and you're not going to be able to sample anymore, and then it'll automatically log you off whenever your AFK is done. So I've created some macros over the years for sampling. Let me make this smaller for you. If you go to, I just clicked down here in the bottom right where the little abilities and commands is, orange fireworks looking thing, and I go to macro. So I have a lot of macros in here for different things. This one's called afkSample. I find this the easiest to do. And of course I can't make this any larger, but basically what it does is and I can put this in the comments of my of this post on YouTube, so you can copy it and create your own macro as well. So if you go into macros, you just want to create new macro, use whatever icon you want, and then you can copy the commands that I put in here, or just type them in by hand. with Star Wars Galaxies, sometimes you can't copy and paste. It's a whole other thing. That's in the utilities area of this game. So if you can't copy and paste, that's why. You can do it. You just have to set up a quick key for it sometimes. So name it afkSample. And as I recall, it is case sensitive, so be wary of that. So I did /sample semicolon /pause 10 semicolon UI action default button. Default button is the default button on the main focus of the page that you're on right now. So in this case, whenever you're hand sampling, it will be the little pop-up, and it will automatically click OK for you. That's what UI action default button does. And then I pause 10 again, and then I go back, and this is called recursive. It'll go back and start the macro all over again. So you only want to click it once, and once it goes, it's good. So I'll show you again. I can click, I'll stand up, and it just took resources. Oh, look, it found a particularly rich sample and got 52 units on that one. I'll get into droids and gear here in a second. Well, as I'm waiting. No, I'll give it a couple seconds. So I'll start my macro. So that's wait 6 seconds. I'll tell you about dump here in a second. Okay. So here goes my macro. You can see that this will just, it automatically samples the current resource, the last resource that I surveyed for where I'm standing. Okay. Macros are run for about 45 minutes. There are some macros that don't time out, like the doc buff macro, and I don't want to get into all the macro stuff during this video, but there are some macros that don't time out, one of them being the doctor buffs. But if you have to stop your macro from running, you can do that by doing /dump, or in my case, I created another macro for basically stopping the macro. I know it's kind of weird. /dump will stop whatever macro is running for you. /dump semicolon. So I created a macro for that, and then I just click that, and you can see it says one pause command chains dumped. And I'll still sample, but if one of those like this pop up, this is perfect. It won't automatically click this because my macro isn't running anymore. So this one, since the macro I showed you for sampling says UI action default button, it'll click OK. That's the default button on this pop-up, and that's what that's for. So this one says, it appears you have found a previously undetected concentration of resource. Initial inspection indicates the cache is of high quality, but looks like it may be difficult to get to. So I'm going to attempt to recover the resource. This is the mini game. You can play this all day. This is, I hate to say it, but it isn't fun, you know, because you saw that's the first pop-up that I had in over, what, 5-6 minutes of sampling. If it popped up more often, it would be more fun, but it's not that fun. So that's why I don't have very much prestige in my surveying prestige. This is brand new to Star Wars Galaxies restoration, so hey, I get it. They're still kind of testing this probably. But, you know, getting up to 10th rank at 1.1 million prestige. Whew. Yeah. I got 25 surveying prestige experience points for that. Getting up to 1.1 million? Sorry, SWGR. I love you guys, but that's never going to happen. I'm on one of my characters. Now, you do get more if you do like reporting resources. You'll get, I think, 1,000 or something like that. So that's significant. That's pretty cool. And maybe somebody is up to 1 million already. I have no idea. Just the way I play the game, I can't do that. So it's just a background thing for me, basically. All right. So let's stop sampling for a second. There's ways to increase how many resources you get out of the ground by hand sampling. In this case, you see that I'm getting about 26, 24, 27 on average, somewhere around there. So I want to increase that. There's two ways to do that. You can use, there's a special droid that exists that you can buy for about 35,000 credits on the bazaar. It's not that bad. It's not even on the bazaar. It's on someone's But you can search the bazaar for these. And it has what's called sampling power. And I think they're usually in R3 units. Sampling power 60 is the maximum. I think I just bought this one a few days ago for 35,000. So that guy had quite a few. So I'm going to call this unit. Call. And having this droid out with me the entire time will give me a bonus to hand sampling. There's also another way to get a bonus. There are SEAs, which are attachments that go onto clothing. In this case, these are special attachments: clothing, a weapon, and a shirt. So this one gives surveying 17, surveying 17, and surveying 17. So I have these special chest piece, shirt, and knife just for increasing my survey skills. This is hard to explain because these are like SEAs are a whole nother conversation, but we can get into more detail about this later. But basically, if you equip these, now this will increase my surveying by 17 times 3, 34, 44, 51. And with the droid now on me, I'm gonna run my macro again. So I was going from about 26, now I'm getting 49. It's almost doubled. So if you're hand sampling, especially on like Mustafar or something like that, you want to have the highest rated droid you can, which is around 60. Like I said, 35,000 credits isn't a lot. And then if you can, grab a chest piece, a shirt, and a knife or any type of weapon that has surveying 17 on it to also help you increase your hand sampling. There are also other pieces of gear that can help increase this. There is something called... Okay, there's the Service Sub Personnel Comlink Risk P3, which is over 1 million credits to buy. Because this one gives you a resource quality increase of 1, which is a big deal. And surveying 5, which is also really good. But that also uses the same slot as the Coralidine Personal Insurgency Wrist Implant. So you can see they both use my right wrist, so I can't put both of them on. This one is better than this one, as I recall. You can try them both out, but if you have both of them. But I'm pretty sure this one is better. Like, I just have this one on all the time. That's all the bonuses that you can get for hand sampling that oh, there's an entertainer buff as well that you can get to help you increase your sampling. Again, that lasts if you're hand sampling on in an area that's huge and you have a lot of hand samplers around. There might be an entertainer there that shows up that will be buffing people in the meantime to help increase their hand sampling. But again, that only lasts about 5.5 hours, so it's a temporary thing. It's nice to have if there's an entertainer around, but that'll also help increase for a temporary period of time. So you can see I'm getting about 49 to 51 right now, which is pretty sweet. My macro will run out after 45 minutes, so after I'm done eating lunch or whatever, I'll come back, log back in, start everything back up, bring out my droid again, start the macro back up, and do that every 45 minutes. So as long as I'm home, I'm good. I can get a lot of hand sampling done. But if I'm at work or whatever, then I can't get a lot of hand sampling done. So it's a lot more difficult. So I think that's all I wanted to talk about. Let me double check real quick. Come back to this. Click over to YouTube topics. Resource sampling droid, SWG Tracker, survey tools, Artisan skill tree. Yeah, we'll talk about the Artisan skill tree real quick too. So if you are an Artisan, you want to max out your surveying 1 through 4. That'll help you. That gives you surveying bonus. Master Artisan does not give you a surveying bonus, so you don't need Master Artisan to be the best surveyor. You just need these 4 blocks, or these 4 slots in the Artisan tree. So I think that's it. It was kind of an exciting video. I've been planning this kind of all week, and again, I was going to talk about some random resource how to find it. But luckily, something popped up on SWG Tracker today. Use that website. It's awesome. I check it every day. And we'll get into schematics later on, but if you look at that, it's the schematics. If you're ever crafting anything as an artisan, go to schematics. It'll show you the best resources to have for that schematic, and you can usually find them on the bazaar or on someone's vendor. So check that out. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care. Have a good day.